rock and roll!
Well, judging from the carving on your desk, it looks like his name is Ozzy.
Yes, and apparently he rules.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So I was looking at the Empire online magazine interview with Dave Filoni, and while there is a lot of room to be optimistic in Star Wars, they still have some issues to fix. And I think it's partially leftovers from the Kennedy era, but I also think we have people who just still don't get it. And you would think after the way Vice Admiral or Ahsoka went down, and the fact that a lot of people were not happy with it in the fandom, the attitude would change. Okay, so we got Dave Filoni talking about the movie coming out, Mando and Grogu. He did not direct it. Jon Favreau directed it, but Dave Filoni wrote part of it. And he is the president of Lucasfilm. I'm not going to say co-president because he's not really sharing duties like people think he is. He's the last word, basically. But he said some things and has said some things that fans find problematic, like Bo-Katan is based on his wife. I am not going to bring her up, but still, that woman's existence anywhere near Star Wars has raised concern. Okay, maybe keep your wife out of it. So he's talking about Colonel Ward, and that's the character that Sigourney Weaver, remember of Ripley and the Alien franchise, great character, great female character. She is playing Colonel Ward. Colonel Ward is it looks to me like she's out hunting rogue Imperials and things, and she ends up hiring Mando to find them. He says he can, find all the wanted men and women on her in her deck of cards. Okay, fine. Then Filoni goes on to say that Ward is in the long line of women who, quote, lead, quote, the rebellion. And he mentions Leia, he mentions Hera Syndulla, and then he mentions this bitch. The ugly, unlikable, no reason to exist beyond being a character cutout of a woke slob, Holdo. Now, should we go through Admiral Holdo's giant weaknesses? Yes. Not telling Poe what the plan was. Acting like she was far superior to the men, because they're men, that she was leading. The weird subtext of her relationship with Leia. The fact that Claudia Gray had to add certain bullshit, garbage, woke shit to the story of Holdo. When Marvel throws the idea that Holdo ran around looking for the right purple hair color in one of their comic books, and this is supposed to be a serious character, what the fuck? But, Filoni had to put that in there. And I gotta tell you, I can see Star Wars fans, because I did, I zeroed in on that because we didn't like the sequel trilogy. Then we've got, Sabine Wren. And everybody knows I can't stand this character. I absolutely despise despise the actress that plays her. Smug, conceited, basically overpowered, and no, she's not a Jedi. Give me a break, Dave. And then we have, Harrison Dula, who was mentioned. Why, if Leia is now going from being the chief diplomat of the New Republic to this type of warrior princess, why do we need Hera? Again, Filoni adds things we don't need. He waters it down and stretches it out too thin, right? So what of the actual characters that we do care about that are women? And I'm concentrating on Leia. So see you on the flip side.
Wait. I've got an idea.
Austin, why on earth did you hit that woman?
Right, let me show you, baby. That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Argle, gargle, google, goo.
What?
Now you know how it feels. What are you talking about?
What an odd combination of odors. Smells like a fish died and all the other fish sent flowers.
So why am I doing this? Because Filoni kind of alluded to the fact that things weren't changing. I mean, I asked Grok to interpret what he said, and that's basically what Grok said. And it kind of upset me because, we've been told the sequel trilogy is going to be retconned and or erased. And there are indications in The World Between Worlds because, let's face it, Star Wars is not Luke Skywalker's story. It's Anakin Skywalker's story, episodes 1 through 6. And now we've got him taking over the role of the father in The World Between Worlds on Mortis. You can see it happening, right? And it's really interesting to me watching all that and, going, why would you say something like that? You can't bring the original trilogy characters into the parks without changing the sequels, right? It's kind of like people going, why would you do a Han Solo movie after you had him killed in such a disgusting, disrespectful way? These are questions that we need to have answered. Okay, we need to have these answered. And the reason why is because it would help Star Wars fans to understand the lack of thinking and the laziness of thought of the Kennedy era Star Wars filmmakers, J.J. Abrams and that clown Roundhead Johnson's ideas, right? All right, let's look at Leia. George originally wrote her to be a diplomat. She's on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. Okay, should have been from Alderaan, but, and in the EU, she basically was the Minister of State, which is basically Secretary of State. So she was the chief diplomat. Now they've got her in Pete Hegseth's role. And it's like, can I explain something to you guys? Dave, everybody. When you look at the sequel trilogy and the state of the galaxy and the chaos, and you see the only people that were leading anything were women, it begs the question, why are these women upheld to be such virtuous, brave people when this shit happened? So it kind of makes you think maybe women shouldn't lead anything, which, you know, is something I've seen people say. And after looking at how the sequel trilogy was written, it's kind of like, okay, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Now, again, going back to Leia, they took away all of her soft sides. What made her the well-rounded female character, woman, that Carrie played so beautifully, for this hard edge, butch fucking thing. Okay. You know, Carrie Fisher, in her day, commanded far more male attention than Jaclyn Smith, Farrah Fawcett, and Heather Locklear, among others. Okay. For a time. And the reason why is because she was that beautiful. And what the Kennedy era did, and what you still see happening now, is it took away all her femininity and replaced it with someone who's not the character that was the role model for girls everywhere. Yes, you can, you know, do this and do that. And you can also be a beautiful woman in love with a gorgeous man. And you can help him and be his helper, right? And he can help you and be your helper. That's what being in a relationship is about. You can be the badass bitch and be in love with a man, right? What is going on here then? When you've got Leia disappearing, and this is they've stretched out the story so much with these pointless characters, Vice Admiral Gender Studies, Rose fucking Tico, and then Sabine Wren. I could do a whole video on why is she a Jedi? All right, and of course, Harrison Dula, and this is me. If Harrison Dula is a general, where is the place for Leia? Minister of Defense? Okay, why did you rewrite the character for that? And their excuse would be, well, she's wearing a uniform with, the devices on the right, left side of the lapel. And that's the thing. No one has thought. And you can't just... My question for Dave Filoni is, why is it so hard for you to write compelling male characters? Why do you always gravitate toward these pointless harpies? Question mark. Okay. These are the things you have to ask. Now, I'm going to go see Mando and Grogu. I'm going to like probably a lot Sigourney Weaver's character because, she's been one of my favorite actresses from the 80s. From Ripley to Working Girl. She's just a good actress, too. The Year of Living Dangerously. Okay. But, in an interview, Dave, when you've got people reading it and you bring up one of the characters people hate the most, and you bring her up, clueless to the fact that people hate Holdo, people are going to wonder if they want to see the movie or not. This interview did not help the future box office of this, all right? I think Dave needed to walk the whole line of Ward to Leia to without even mentioning Padme, of course. The difference between the way George wrote Leia and Padme and the way Filoni writes all these characters and the way Rian Johnson writes female characters is George looked at them as equals. Dave looks at females as his superior, and so does Rian Johnson. There's a difference between a real man and two cucks, okay? And if Dave doesn't want to be a cuck, he needs to start coming out of the box and putting the females where they belong, which is if the woman is not named Leia, Ahsoka, or Mon Mothma, then she doesn't get to be in the show. Or Asajj Ventress, right? And I'll give him Bo-Katan and Satine. But that's it. I don't want to hear. I mean, you brought up Admiral Holdo, you dumbass. The idea of that character makes me want to vomit. Right? Makes me want to fucking vomit. All right? And the lack of character for writing male characters that are human, I'm not talking about Cad Bane, really says a lot about the confidence going into the stories. Can write these basically totally phony women and females. Where are the men? All right? So I'm going to have qualified optimism going into Mando and Grogu. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.
Ready, everybody?
All set.
Here we go again.